Hello, and welcome to another episode of Walk of the Dog Cinema. Here we are, getting out into the wide yonder here. Nice dusk, getting in the evening here, and taking our walk. Roka's excited, as am I, getting some fresh air, getting the blood going in the legs. And today we're going to talk about a 1977 Japanese film, Toho made, House. Strange film to say the least, but that's what's on the docket, so sit back. We are going to get into spoilers and all sorts of good things with this one, because this movie is a trip. So maybe if you're out for your walk, hope you're all enjoying yourselves, because me and the Roka are going to enjoy ourselves. So, still kind of running through horror movies or comedy horror, and I decided to watch Toho, makers of Godzilla, the studio. It's responsible for that movie called House. It's on HBO Max. It's streaming. It's a Japanese film, not to be mistaken with House from the 1980s, which after seeing this I kind of want to watch and do, because there's two of them and they kind of both comedy horror there. Anyhow, this one is completely different. It's about these Japanese high school girls who are on their break, and they go to one of the girls' aunt's house, and all sorts of weird shenanigans break loose, and the house is haunted, and it's just craziness ensues. To say this movie is a fever dream would be putting it lightly. I inherently enjoyed it. It's kind of a fun film. It's not a bad film per se, but you're going to take your own kind of expectations on this one. You're either going to like it, hate it. I don't know if you're going to find anything in the middle with it. It definitely isn't boring. It's out there. And the crazy thing is looking into some of the things with this, I found out the director got the idea from his 12-year-old daughter, and some of the kills and the hauntings that are going on in the movie are from his 12-year-old daughter. Now, that doesn't mean that the movie feels like it's made by a 12-year-old. No, there's a lot of detail in the background, a lot of just interesting director's choices made here. You can feel a labor of love about it all. It definitely isn't kiddie in any way, shape, or form. I would not show my kids this movie in any way, shape, or form. It's directly adult. And you kind of get that sense. Each of the characters aren't really named. Our lead is called Gorgeous. She's the pretty one, does makeup. They all kind of fashion as an attribute. We got Fantasy, who kind of lives in a fantasy, is in love with her teacher, has a wild and vivid imagination. Kung Fu is in the Kung Fu, who, by the way, ends up being one of the best characters in the movie. I'll get into that. You have Mac, who loves eating, short for stomach. You have Professor, who's book smarts. You have, I forgot the one that plays piano, into art. I don't even remember her name. I don't know why. So it's kind of like our cast. The whole basis is they're all going to go to a spa, except for Gorgeous, who's supposed to go out with her dad. But her dad shows up from doing a movie with Sergio Leone. He's like a composer guy for the movies. And he has a new girlfriend who suddenly wants to be Gorgeous's mom, who died like 7 years earlier. Doesn't exactly say from what, but did die. And she's distraught over it. So she writes a letter to her aunt, wanting to visit her aunt up in her house. And the girls lose out on their spa day because of the teacher they were going with, kind of blows it. So they all decide to go to the house with Gorgeous, and they take this trippy train trip. And these are the kind of things and details you can clearly see that the background's like a painting. It's done on purpose. It's very surrealistic with the colors. Everything always looks like it's a perpetual sunset. You can tell sometimes how the train is not moving, and it was done on a low budget, but there's also some artistic ingenuity with how this is done to kind of make this surreal, like I said, a fever dream. Everything on one level feels phony, but then feels very real, and it's filmed in a dreamlike quality with like that hazy filter that everything seems like a dream. And the music is really kind of avant-garde and just kind of out there within the choices of what's going on in the film. And so you kind of see how it all is going to blend, and it's a trip, to say the least. Like I said, you get done with this and you just think, wow, is someone on an acid trip or something? I mean, this is the 70s, and it was a box office hit in Japan, and I can see why. It's not a lot, especially for the 70s. Maybe in that cinema was inherently like that, but some of it was. You see a lot of, Chinese cinema for sure had a lot of these kind of characteristics. So there's this weird blend of it all that's kind of cool. Probably the only thing is the camera isn't like really hyperkinetic. But and what I mean by that is it doesn't carry, a lot of the tracking shots and stuff. It's a little static at times. But where I was going to go with that is this has a lot of feel like Evil Dead 2, early Peter Jackson. I don't know if Sam Raimi or Peter Jackson have ever seen this director or watched this movie, but you can feel some homage going on if you've ever seen Evil Dead 2, or like I said, early Peter Jackson with Bad Taste or Dead Alive or Meet the Feebles. A lot of that tonality is what this movie has. Like I said, it's bizarre, but it isn't like David Lynch bizarre. And that's kind of where I go with it. There's kind of a logic to how bizarre everything's going on, but there is all these like little details. When they get there, there's a bizarre shopkeeper eating watermelon, who later on turns into bananas. It's kind of supposed to be like dark humor. Doesn't always land, but it is to give it a very surreal atmosphere. We get to the house. It looks old and decrepit. Immediately, there's a cat involved that we know is ported to a witch that's given away. With glowing eyes that we see. Then we start seeing the strange happenings, and basically Auntie that they're visiting is a witch who feeds on younger girls. So it's kind of, got a little bit of the Hansel and Gretel thing going on there, to get young and beautiful and try to get themselves reborn into a body. So you can see where this movie's gonna kind of go. I think I made it even sound more complex than it actually is on one level, because it doesn't really channel into that, so to speak. That's all there. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that's not overly explained on one level. It's very visual. There are some explanations of it, but you get with the visuals on what's going on. And within it, each of the girls' deaths, some of them happen off screen, but we get some kookiness with decapitations that aren't inherently bloody. But like I said, if you've ever seen Evil Dead 2, where the beginning has the girlfriend that gets killed and the head flies off and all that, like that sequence happens in this sense. And this happened first, so there is that all going on. And through it, what's crazy is I think because she's probably the best actress, none of the girls hired were actresses. So there was a whole thing with that. And I think out of it, they realized the girl who's playing Kung Fu was probably the best actress. So it almost feels like there's a shift. She definitely has the most charisma. Gorgeous does a good job, the actress. Like I said, I don't really know their names or what they've totally done after this, but within the context of the movie, Kung Fu steals the show and almost becomes the lead in it. It's kind of interesting how that shifts and how that works for her character. And she does some crazy karate stuff and wire fu, and it all makes sense in the film. It is wild, and yes, you get all of that in this. You get chopped body parts at a piano, someone getting devoured by a demonic piano, and just this really wacky scene with skeleton dancing. And that all sounds fun for you. It's somewhat comedic, but also trying to be scary. Then, like I said, give this movie a go. If that's not your cup of tea, this kind of surreal, kind of weird, semi-plot driven, just get to the end kind of thing, you're not going to like it. There is some nudity in it, so your mileage may vary within that. I wouldn't say it's done in poor taste. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, though. And it's kind of odd, but when we get to the end, I guess it makes sense. I'm just letting you know it's in there. So again, you got kung fu and nudity and decapitations with pianos and decapitated heads and wells and mattresses flying at people and trying to kill them, and water making you like acid, and it like I said, it's all over there. And to be reminded, a lot of these deaths were devised by a 12-year-old, and Dad, who was the director, went with it, and in some glorious way he pulls it off. It's a very strange film. It is fun though, in that regard. So I don't think you'd be bored, but I give you lots of forewarning on it. To each their own with this movie. It's kind of artistic. There's some slow motion in there done for ethereal qualities, kind of making it heavenly. So it's all very interesting. Glamour shots. Feels like models walking the runway. The director came from that field in Japan, where he filmed models walking runways. So he definitely has an eye for all of that when he does shoot, with the lighting and everything else. But it's a surreal, fever dream nightmare of a movie, and to each their own. So that's House. I think it's kind of cool for a good Halloween start. It has kind of all those trappings. I wouldn't put it in my rotation. I don't know if this is one that I would sit and watch a lot or again, but it is an interesting film and an interesting place in Japanese cinema, where it did make quite a bit of money there. So there you have it. Let me know what you think about it, and if you've seen it, shoot over any ideas for Halloween or anything you'd like me to review and take a look at. If you like what you see, please subscribe. We're just getting started on this journey, and would like to have you along. Have a good one, everybody.